And when you see that the majority of the people in these boats are children, babies and women who have been...
No, they're not.
Joined by our political editor, Christopher Hope, because, Christopher, huge consternation at the heart of government at the moment. They seem to not quite recognise that the boats are mainly full of young men.
Yes, hi Tom. Hi Emily. Yeah, extraordinary moment in this briefing we get daily with the government spokesman. Now, last night on BBC Question Time, Darren Jones, number 2 in the Treasury, of course, his department says they can empty these asylum hotels by 2029. We'll wait and see if that happens. But he said this. He said that the majority of the people in these boats, these small boats, are children, babies and women when they cross the channel. That is demonstrably untrue, according to the government's own figures. Mark White there said 89%, but even going on what the government says, since 2018, 70% of illegal arrivals across the channel are men over the age of 18. We see these pictures coming in, we see it out there, and yet in this briefing with number 10 spokesman, he refused to correct the minister. He said extraordinarily that the government has confidence in Darren Jones, who's the Chief Secretary of the Treasury, and all they say simply is this. They say simply that we've been clear that our focus is on tackling these vile gangs who deal in human misery. Moments ago, Mike Tapp, the MP for Dover and Deal, of course, a Labour MP, was on your show, Tom, and you asked him about this, and he said to you that we do see the majority of those crossing are young men. You'll have to ask Darren about that, his comments. But it just strikes me they are literally gaslighting GB News viewers and listeners to say that most people crossing the channel are, as I say here, I'll say it again, they say it's children, babies and women. That is not the case, according to the government's own figures and what we see with our own eyes. And this is what infuriates people, I think, watching what's happening here. Will the government not own up to what is happening, instead trying to mislead people, apparently, on the national broadcaster?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at footage right now of people arriving in Dover on the coast here, and they are men. They are men. The majority of men. Of course, there will be women and children. Of course, there are. We've seen the statistics. They are available to everyone if you want to see them. But as we can see,
Can you see a single little child on that boat? Can you? There may be one or two. Oh, there's one being carried there. But let's just repeat. I've got the data in front of me. Since 2018, 70% adult males. But, of course, in more recent years, that's actually shifted. 87% of people arriving on these boats are over 18. 88% of those are men. Of the 13% of arrivals who say they're under 18, 78% are boys.
Yeah, it's boys and men, isn't it, Christopher?
Yes, it just beggars belief. And I think part of the problem this government has with this crisis is not saying what is happening, not being clear about what we can see, what the government says, and trying to... Yes, of course, in many cases, I'm sure, on these migrants crossing, they've got difficult stories to tell. It's been very, very hard for them. But they are not women and children and babies. They are young men of working age. And until we start talking about the issue as it actually is, you'll continue to have people feeling being misled about the problem by our ministers.
Titanic, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. We're going to get that clip, actually, as soon as possible, because it is quite shocking what a government minister has claimed on national television.